morning. Good morning, Rodney. I love you. Today's Just for Today was about comparing. They say see the similarities, not the differences. I can relate to that. My first year of recovery, not this year, my first year of recovery, actual recovery. I joined in 2017. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. But the first time I went to treatment, I learned that I had a disease. I learned about the disease. And then it gave me the ability to manipulate, I think. The more I think about it, it's just bullshit. But it gave me the ability to say, oh yeah, I did that because I've got a disease. I know this now, that we're not responsible for our disease, but we are responsible for our recovery, however that looks. I don't get to decide how somebody's recovery is going to look. I can be quick to compare my recovery to somebody else's, and then start painting this picture that's bullshit, really. However somebody stays clean or sober is how they stay clean or sober. It's not for me to say, oh, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, as if I fucking know, because I don't. I need to do this. I need to do that. This is what's working for me. This is what doesn't work for me. I can tell you're trying to stay in a situation where I think that because I'm clean, it's going to work out. Doesn't work out. I know that now. But the similarities versus the differences, I had a really good year that first year. So I associated with just my recovery as if, because I'm very self-centered, I could do that. Everybody was having a good year. And all of a sudden I'm walking into meetings like, you're not like me, you're not like me, you're not like me. You do that. I did that long enough that I just didn't walk in. Well, of course I had to be there so I could share. And my shares had to be epic. Guess what? They were bullshit. If I was really being honest, I would have shared, hey, yo, my house is on fire and I thought about getting loaded today. That share never happened. But finding the similarities started happening for me in a third treatment center. And it opened up my ears. And it gave me the ability to really only look for the similarities and not the differences. Because there's two common grounds. We say in the car business that you have to find a common ground. Well, let me rephrase that. They say in sales you need to find a common ground. So we do. We find a common ground. People that I work with, my clients, don't want to waste their time. They want to be, and they don't want to feel like they're being taken advantage of. I don't want to feel like my time's being wasted, and I don't want to be lied to or taken advantage of. And so we have a common ground, right? They've had bad experiences in the past, and so have I. Well, in recovery, we have two common grounds. We were in active addiction, and now we're in recovery. There's the similarity right there. How the active addiction looks is different for many. For a lot of us, it's similar, but I don't really need to have the same mess as somebody else. But see, I thought I did. I sat in there and they said, wait long enough and you'll hear your story. And so I listened from 2017 to 2020. And I never heard my story, I thought. But see, here's the thing. Everybody was sharing my story. I just only wanted to hear a specific story. It took me being broken, alone, afraid, all of that stuff over and over and over again to actually listen. and finally hear my story. But see, I got to hear my story the way my higher power wanted me to hear my story. God gave me my story when the timing was right. And the timing is never on my time. It's always on my higher power's time. And now I have a lot of friends. I have enough friends. The people that are my support system care about me. We get along. And they may not all like me. But I mean, like, if you're in a place where everybody likes you, there's something going on. And maybe they don't, you just think they do. That's the whole thing, we just think they do. I like today's message. Comparing is like a huge problem for me. I mean, it happened while I was praying. I do my prayers every morning. You know, it's part of my drive. And I was like, maybe, like I was just in it, you know, praying for my kids, and a friend of mine's father, and my dad, and then all of a sudden, all of my past and all these thoughts just started popping in my head. Comparisons started popping in my head. It like interrupted my prayer. Just boom, boom, boom. And I looked and I was like, oh man, I'm getting closer to work. And then I thought, oh, this is an interruption that is trying to stop me from, so I can beat on myself when I get to work and be like, man, you didn't even finish your prayer. You were just so stuck in that time period, this time period. Oh wait, you were stuck in the future too. Because that's what my disease, so like, I have this theory for me, it's my theory for me, that I have my disease and I have the devil. And they both are like good friends. And they both communicate really well to each other. And they both sound like me. And so, they speak to me in my own voice, in my head. And they're constantly trying to talk to me. And unless I like look over and say, hey, it's going to continue to happen. And in fact, it always happens anyways. I heard a phrase that the devil's always outside your door. It's up to you if you want to let him in. But if you have a good connection with God or your higher power, that's who opens the door and says, how may I help you? Instead of you. Because that shit will show up in different forms. It'll show up as a really good sandwich when I'm full. It'll show up as dessert. It'll show up as, you know, things that you watched that you shouldn't watch, that I shouldn't watch. It'll show up as a song to make me feel negative. It'll show up as compulsive buying things. It'll show up as a thought, like, hey, you need another shirt, or you need, you know, like, it'll just show up in, like, in all of these. Here I'm like debating, is the shirt thing bad? Anyways, I'm like, no, the shirt's okay. Like, as I'm talking about this, that showed up. You know what I mean? And that's just how it works for me. And so I have to accept that that's how it is for now. That's another thing, like acceptance. I have to remember that this isn't, like, not everything's going to stay exactly the same way. I'm getting caught in that, you know, and now my kids are upset. Because it's like the same old. So I got to turn that into a season and adjust, you know, like, it got me to a certain point. It got me to where, like, I was really bad and I needed it then. But I don't need it now. Like, I don't need to go to the gym twice a day, always. But I needed it then. You know, like, I needed it then. Now you know, like, I'm better now. I'm not, like, tripping like I was. So now it's time to scale that back and spend some more time with my kid. You know what I mean? Like, but I needed to hear, it needed to get to that point of unmanageability, which it did. It did. And now I can reflect and say, okay, If I would have been at the gym this morning because I wanted to, I wouldn't have had that good one-on-one with Shayna today. Just that little brief hello, and we were getting ready, you know, and I wouldn't have been able to have that. And so, like, I'm really grateful that I didn't go. You know, I'm not saying don't go anymore, but, you know, I am really grateful that I didn't. And so, yeah, it's just a lot. But overall, like, so I have to always come back to gratitudes when I go on these rants or whatever in my head or out loud or whatever. I gotta always go back to gratitude, so I don't like take away what is good. You know, like I folded all the blankets and I got to connect with Shayna, and I had a really good conversation this morning with someone in recovery, someone who's clean and sober. I had a really good conversation with, you know, my higher power, and, you know, didn't forget my protein bars, didn't forget anything, and, you know, I didn't have to rush to work. I'm going to be on time. I could point out all the things that I didn't do, and it will just fuck my day up, and that's not bad either, but having it destroy my day, it can be. So no matter what, I've got to come back to gratitudes. I'm grateful I'm clean. I didn't get loaded this week, and I've got 10 months and 3 days. So I'm debating on whether I'm going to keep saying 10 months and 4 days, 10 months and 5 days, or if I'm just going to say I have a little less than 2 months. It's okay to know my clean date, but do I need to know, like, in 14 days, in 15 days, in 16 days? I think early it was. But I think now it's more of, remember your clean date, that's the date you saved your life. And it's also, now I'm at that point where, like, I could fuck around and be like, oh shit, I forgot it was 10 months and fucking 6 days, and it's 10 months and fucking 7 days, you know? Like, why? Create a manageability in that smallest detail. And so, you know, it's adjustment. It's ready, fire, aim, right? I like that phrase. Instead of ready, aim, fire. People spend their whole lives, some people spend their whole lives aiming and never take a shot. And so I heard that from somebody a long time ago, and it helped me in the car business. Just keep taking shots. Not alcohol. Just keep taking shots, and then all of a sudden you'll adjust based upon your result, and you'll just get better and better. And now I'm you know, that was, you know, 15, 20 years ago when I heard that. And so, yeah, 15 years ago. And so today's going to be a good day. I'm grateful for where I'm at. I had good sleep last night, and I'm clean. And I'm not worried about certain things. And I know where to lean on when I am. I know where to go when I am. I know what to do when I am, because I'm going to be. You know, it's just like that whole, like, I used to say, like, if I ever use again, I'll die. And so, like, I held on to that for like 2 years, and then got loaded, and then, like, I didn't die. You know, internally, spiritually, physically, mentally, all that stuff was starting. Spiritually, definitely. So, like, saying that kind of stuff isn't really productive for me. Just working on the things that will help prevent me from getting to a point where I want to pick up is important to me. And knowing that, like, I'm like the type that won't die, you know, like, I'll just end up in a bridge or something for 20 years. Because that's worse for me than dying. Living and everybody's mourning your death, mourning you while you're alive. That just sucks. It's not good. No bueno. So, I had a really good month last month. I'd like to have a really good month this month. Like a really good month last month, work-wise. And I'm grateful. Have a good day today. You got this. Comes in phases. And then the good phases are a lot more than the bad ones. And the bad ones aren't even as bad as the phases it was when I was getting loaded. And I'm sure people that are in my shoes can relate to that. I'm sure people that aren't in my shoes can relate to that. Happy Wednesday.